Matthew, you are a former champion of both titles. How important for you to have them back on your CV?
Yeah, well, I didn't want to lose either. You know what I mean? I didn't lose either in the ring. When Darren got made mandatory to fight me for the British title, I signed a promotional agreement with Hatton Promotions. Their first fight, you know, they came up with the European title fight. They wanted me to vacate the British and fight for the European. You know, it wasn't. You know, the European was a step forward, if you like. It's certainly, considering who the opponent was, Asakani was highly ranked with all the governing bodies. There was an opportunity that I wasn't going to pass up. You know, I took the fight, the European title. I won it in good style. I had a fight then in Ireland in December. I was due to defend it in April. I injured my nose out in Los Angeles. And I had a bit of a promotional dispute with the Hattons, and you know, we went our separate ways, and part of the deal was to vacate the European title. And I didn't want to hold it up anyway. I didn't know how long I was going to be out with the nose, or when my next fight was going to be. So, you know, I didn't want to come down to stripping it and not know I was going to fight. So I vacated it. And Darren got the call, and you know, fair play to him. He stepped up and won it. But you know, obviously, I didn't lose.
For you to get back?
Yeah, I didn't lose odds in the ring. So you know, I still want to, win both titles back. Yeah.
I mean, your ultimate, I think, I can imagine the ultimate for both of you as well, title, status, etc. But this is, to have this on your CV is important.
Yeah, well, I had an IBF eliminator that I could have took against Giovanni Lorenzo, and there was a few things that I meant to fight Winky Wright in July, but he agreed to the fight, and he backed out of it. Then Sergio Mora wouldn't take the fight. The IBF didn't come up, but at the same time, Givor withdrew from his mandatory spot with Darren. I got reinstated. I got pushed forward into the mandatory position, and I just really fancied the fight. I think it's a fight. I knew it'd be a fight that, like, to be honest, it exceeded my expectation. I knew people would be talking about it, but you know, the phone hasn't stopped. Everyone's on about it. You know, the hype's we're 10 years out, and everyone's on about it. So by the time fight time comes, I'm sure it'll be really built up. But I just fancied the fight, and I think it's a good fact that, you know, Frank won the purse business. You know, he said he put out in Birmingham. You know, that was all I really needed to hear, because you know, there's going to be 13,000 people here. It's a pay-per-view event on Sky. It's going to get a lot of publicity. You know, you win. This is the type of fight. Win this fight, and I move away from becoming, you know, a good fighter fighting in a leisure centre. I don't want to be a good fighter fighting in a leisure centre. I want to be a good fighter and a marquee name, a big attraction. That's boxing in arenas with 10,000 people in. You know, then you get a chance that you've got a bit of clout behind you. You can bring world titles here. So you know, the fight made sense to me. You know, I fancy the fight from a boxing point of view, but outside of it, it makes sense too.
Can I ask you why you actually fancy the fight?
Well, I just think I'm the better fighter. I think you know, I respect Darren as a fighter and as a lad. I don't know him that well, but a few times I've been in his company. He always seemed, you know, top man, and anyone I know that knows him says the same. But
yeah,
you know, I think they'd say the same about me. But as a fighter, good fighter, he wouldn't be where he was if he wasn't. But I just feel I'm that much ahead of him. I think I was a little bit better as an amateur, and I feel I'm a little bit better as a pro. He's undefeated on that, but the 2 losses I've had, I think, you know, definitely made me a better fighter. And I think there were reasons for those losses as well. As a middleweight, I'm undefeated. I'm comfortable at middleweight, and you know, I've been boxing better than ever. I think I've got, you know, we're the same age, but I think I'm a lot more experienced than Darren. I'm a lot more experienced. I've been in, you know, boxed a better quality of opposition. You know, I've been around fighters like Hatton, which, you know, that doesn't really matter. He'd be around Frats, I suppose, but you know, it does rub off on your little things. But I just think I'm a bit more experienced, and I think I'm just a bit better all round. I think he's a really good fighter, and I think, you know, I think I'll win this fight, but I think he can come back and come again. You know, definitely go on and win a world title, but at the moment, you know, I think I'm the wrong fight for him, and he's the right fight for me.
Darren, would you agree that Matthew's had tougher opposition than you've faced, and do you accept that?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, well, some of the opponents, but I mean, I said in London, you know, we're both 28, and I think I'm a younger, fresher 28-year-old because of the wars and the fights he's had. And you know, but I'm going into this confident, the same as Matthew. You know, I'm very confident I can win. And yeah, you know, I'm just really looking forward to be part of something like this is amazing. But it's only going to be worthwhile, you know, when I win the fight. I mean, it's all right being part of something. I don't agree in that. It's the taking part that counts. You know, it only matters when you win, and you know, that's something I'm going to make sure I do on the 18th.
I think the interesting thing is as well for both of them, for Matthew and for Darren. I really believe that they both have boxed and will raise their game with better quality opposition in front of them. You know, let nothing be taken away from, you know, from Darren Barker. You know, Darren McDermott had never been, as an amateur from boxing, as 12 years of age, had never been put on the floor. He'd never been dropped. He'd never been stopped. You know, and he put in a fantastic performance that night. You know, when Matthew won the European title, you know, he was in with a real dangerous guy that night. You know, and he went out and did a job on him. So I think they've both proved to the boxing public that the better the quality of the opposition, the better that both of these two fighters will perform.
You definitely need that bit of fear in you, you know, that you need the fear of losing, you know, not that you're scared, but you need that, the fact that, you know, you're with someone that could possibly beat you, you're sharper, your reflexes, your reactions, everything's quicker. Definitely.
As you're perhaps a touch nearer a world title situation, and Dean said this is a must-win for you. How would a defeat, probably you're not always thinking of it, how would a defeat affect your work? Would you just put you back a little while?
Well, it definitely knock me back in the rankings, and it'd knock me back because I'd have to regroup. But you know, I don't know what it is. I mean, you know, I lost to Jamie Moore. A lot of people said I'd never fight again. I never did. I'd be no good. But I was wrong. I bounced back better now than I ever was. And so don't kill you makes you stronger. But I definitely, you know, I know where I'm going. You know what I mean? I know there's a lot of things probably wasn't in order than it is now, and I feel I'm boxing better than I ever was. I feel I'm boxing the right weight division, and I think it's a great fight for me. I think, you know, I didn't have to take this fight. If I didn't fancy this fight, I wouldn't have took it. You know, I could have gone and fought Lorenzo. I could have had a deal with, you know, there was a possible fight with Chavez Jr. doing something with Top Rank. There was a lot of ways I could have gone. It was just I really fancied the fight. So, you know, my confidence, you know, that should tell you all you need to know. Do you know what I mean? I'm so close to a world title shot, and I could have tried war. I could have took a fight in Ireland on a Brian Peters show. I could have done anything really. There's loads of options open to me, but I chose to take this fight. You know, and it weren't for the money, because the money would been less than what I've been fighting for. But it's the fight. I'm really confident about the fight. I fancy the fight. You know, I knew it'd be a big fight. I know it's going to gather a lot of hype, and it's in Birmingham. I want the titles back, and I really fancy the fight. But yeah, like I mean, you know, last standing isn't even on the agenda. You know, no doubts I'm going to win this fight, and like I said, I'm going to do with this fight. I think I'll be. So that'll be closer in terms of rankings, but you know, I'll be a bigger. I think I'll be a bigger name here. And then if I was to do something with Frank Warren, then you know, the fact that he can sort of, you know, that I can command a 10,000 arena and a certain audience on television, and you know, you've got a lot more power then, and Frank's would have a lot more to pull more strings.
You're the champion. You feel like the champion going in? You're gonna.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I've got the titles. I was saying in London again. It'd be more complete when, you know, I win and I'm #1 in the country. I mean, the same as, you know, Matthew was talking then, it wouldn't really matter if the titles weren't on the line, because of the size of the fight. Everyone wants to see it. People within boxing and people, you know, don't know too much about the sport. Are still hearing good things, you know, big things and how big the fight is. But for me, it's important to be #1 in the country, especially holding the titles. That's my immediate goal. You know, that's my short-term goal for this upcoming fight, is to have the titles and be #1 in the country, and then I'll look onto world titles, which, you know, I know I'm capable of winning. But it's nice to have the both. Having one without the other is not really nice, and I want the set, I want the titles and the #1 ranking, you know, so that's my goal.
Well, you just said what happened to the Commonwealth fight? Are you still? You won that, didn't you?
He's relinquished it. Martin Murray's boxing for the vacant title.
Oh right.
Because he interfered with you know, defending this.
You know, over the last 25 years, the interesting thing is, in this middleweight, in the middleweight division, there's been some great fights. Kayla Christie, Kayla Gons, you know, Harold Graham, Alan Minter, Ben and Eubanks. This fight is on the same level, and every one of those contests have always been about being the best in Britain. You know, there's been some great all-British fights, and the titles have been irrelevant to the contest. And this is really what both of them have said, what Darren said and Matthew said. It's all about being the best in Britain. And this is, I'm really sure that both of these are going to rise to the occasion, and everybody who comes here on the September the 18th is going to see a real spectacle. So we've sold 8,000 tickets for the event already. So
8,000 already?
yeah, things are moving.
Okay, what's
very
your goal?
quickly. 13,000.
Remember the Jamie Moore fight was similar, but I think this is bigger than that. Do you know what I mean? It was that was a big fight at the time. I anticipated, and I think the fight exceeded anyone's expectations, except mine. But it was a good, you know, and you know, I think saying they're the sort of fights that, you know, you could be fighting the next sugar level from wherever, but it doesn't mean the same unless you get two from, you know, like people are familiar with Darren, people are familiar with me, and they want to know who's the best. So they're the fights that people want to see more than anything, and they generally, the fights usually live up to the hype because there's a lot of pride at stake.
I think the other thing is, Ian, what both of them touched on this morning at the earlier press conference. Now, the fight is in its rightful place in a big arena, on a pay-per-view show, you know, with a big promotion behind it. Whereas a year ago, it may not have been at that level. It might not have been in a big arena like this, and it certainly wouldn't have got, you know, the publicity machine behind it, what it's had for this fight. In a year, Matthew's regrouped, you know, Darren's come on leaps and bounds. So it's all about the timing of the fight for both of them, and I think this is a real, you know, now is the time.
Yeah. Too many fights fall by the way, like Wayne Alexander fought Tackle about 3 years after nobody cared. Do you know what I mean? It was like where, you know, I don't think either of those fights are as good as me or Darren anyway, but you know, do you know what I mean? Too many fights get talked about and never happen. Where, and like I say, if this had happened 12 months ago, it probably wouldn't have done it justice, but the fact that the European title's on the line and the British title, and obviously it's a year down the line and people want to see it more and more, you know, I think it's at the perfect time. So you let it go any further, you know, I'm going to, you know, I'll move on to a world title or going to America or whatever, it's not, you know, it's not going to happen. Where I think it's probably at the pinnacle of where it's most, you know what I mean, the most, you know, like I say, at the NEC where Eubank fought Ben, you know, would have been, it was great for me down the road. So I think you know, I think there's I think both of us, I know it's a mandatory thing, so he had no choice, he had to fight me. But at the same tune, you know, he could have, if he really didn't fancy it, he could have stepped, you know, he could have vacated or whatever. But you know, the fact that the two of us are fighting it when we've got so much on the table anyway, you know, it shows how confident we both are, and I think it shows also the fact that we're prepared to step. You know, nowadays too many people are shying away from the fights. You know what I mean? They don't want to fight each other, and you know, that's never been my style. Like I say, I fought Jamie Moore, I didn't have to fight Jamie. I was mandatory position. He'd won the Lansdale belt outright. He was looking to move on anyway. He didn't want the fight, but you know, Sky were pushing for it, and I was pushing for it. No, I didn't want to win a vacant title. I wanted to be the man that beat the man, and you know, I come up short that night, but no, I'm coming up short this time, and I can't wait. It's going to be. I think the fact that two of us are going for it, more people need that attitude in this country, in this sport. And you know, it'd be a better sport if there were, because people, you know, that's you believe in yourself, well, then put yourself on the line.
Tony, is there anything that you'll be doing special to raise Darren's game or performance?
We'll be bringing in sparring partners. We'll be doing the same sort of training, going to Tenerife. We'll be going to Tenerife for a couple of weeks and training at high altitude there. Been speaking to an agent in France. I've got a couple of guys that are going to come over and do the sparring for Darren.
Or Frenchman?